This is one of the most famous building in the world, and if you can't tell by the blocks of it, it's Colosseum. People think it's about gladiators and all the champions who fought here. But that's a lie. It was a factory, a slaughterhouse, not just gladiators, but animals. Thousands and thousands of animals. This building didn't just entertain the Rome, it wiped off an entire species off of this planet. Welcome to the prison of the gods. Tourists come here to see the arches, to touch the stone. They imagine the roar of the crowd. But in doing all of that, they are missing the point. For every gladiator which died here, thousands of animals were butchered. This wasn't an arena. It was an industrial machine, and the raw material was life itself. To understand the horror, you need to understand the scale of it. Rome was the center of the world, and people of the Rome were bored. They had seen the sword fights. They had seen the execution. But they wanted something new, something exotic. They wanted to see monsters. The emperor became the world's greatest poacher. He sent legions, not to conquer land, but nature. Their orders were simple. Go to the edge of the map. If it breathes, catch it. If it fights, keep it. Let's imagine the logistics. You are a Roman soldier in 80 AD. You are standing in the middle of North Africa, and your orders are to capture an elephant alive. You don't have tranquilizers. You just have some wood and some rope. So they dug a massive pit in the ground to lure the animals in and covered it with some leaf. They chased lions into the dead end canyons. They stole the bear cubs to lure mothers into the trap. And then they had to move them over the mountains, across the deserts. The Mediterranean Sea became a highway of misery. Historians estimate that every lion which made it to its way to Rome, 10 died along the way due to exhaustion, stress, and heat strokes. But Rome didn't care. They just ordered more and more. And in doing so, they emptied the world. In the Atlas Mountains of Morocco, there used to be a bear, the Atlas bear, the only bear native to Africa. But Rome wanted them, and Rome took them all. Today, the Atlas bear is just a ghost in the encyclopedias. North African elephant, the small forest elephant, the same elephant that Hannibal used to cross the Alps, Rome ate them up. Extinct. Rome treated nature like a mine. They dug until the vein ran dry. When Emperor Titus finished this building in 80 AD, he needed a grand opening. By the time the festival ended, 9,000 creatures lay dead on this sand. That is nearly 90 animals per day for 3 months straight. But the true genius of the Colosseum wasn't the killing. It was the stagecraft. How do you surprise a crowd that has seen everything? You make monsters appear like a magic. The place we are currently standing at is the Hypogeum, the underworld. And it was a labyrinth of tunnels, the cells and machines. While the crowd cheered above, hundreds of slaves worked underneath. The Hypogeum was powered by 28 hidden elevators, the same machines which used to propel animals out on the stage. But Rome loved a story. They didn't just want any random guy getting killed by a bull. They wanted something more. They wanted epics. They wanted myths. They wanted to display something which has never been seen before. They wanted legends. They wanted stories like Fall of Icarus. They would dress up a criminal, hoist him in a crane, and drop him in a cage full of bears. It was the highest budget theater in history, using real blood, real teeth, and the staff, they were expendable too. We often talk about fall of Rome. We talk about politics. We talk about war. But we rarely talk about ecological collapse. By the 4th century, the supply was running out. Emperors were writing desperate letters to governors in Africa. Where are my leopards? Where are my lions? but there were no lions to send. The hunters had to go deeper, further, spending more gold to find fewer beasts. The Colosseum became a black hole that sucked life out of 3 continents. And Colosseum wasn't alone. Rome built amphitheaters across the empire, from Spain to Syria, from Britain to North Africa. Each one demanded animals, not occasionally, but regularly. What happened in Rome was copied everywhere. Provincial cities started to compete with each other, trying to impress each other, governors, generals, and even emperors. More animals meant more prestige. Rarer animals meant more status. A leopard from nearby province was boring, but a tiger from Asia? Now that was a spectacle. Eventually the empires fell. The game stopped. The elevators rotted. The trapdoors rusted shut. And the hypogeum filled with water and mud. Nature tried to reclaim the stone. But the damage to the living world was already done. Rome proved that humans could defeat nature. We could capture it, we could cage it and kill it. But it was a hollow victory. We look at this building today and we see a wonder of the world. We stand in line to take photos. But if you listen closely, you don't hear the cheering of Romans. You hear the silence. The silence of the species which never came back. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a like. And all the builds that I have used throughout this episode are linked in the description below. So go share the love and check out the amazing builds that these builders have built. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep it simply wild. Bye.